from the title and the thumbnail, you already know what this video is going to be about. I am going to teach you Photoshop in just 10 minutes. So without wasting any time, let's get started. As soon as you open Photoshop for the first time, you will see an interface like this. The files you see here are my recent files, on which I have worked recently. And you guessed it right, your recent files will be shown up here. Okay, now I will take you to the workspace of Photoshop. For this, you will see a Photoshop icon here. You have to simply click on it and your workspace will open. If you are opening Photoshop for the first time, it may seem a little scary. But don't worry, there are only 3 things here that you need to know as a beginner. And what are those 3 things? Let me explain them to you with an example. What does a drawing artist have? They have their tools like brushes, pencil and erasers. Then they have a color palette where they mix colors. And finally, a canvas where they use tools and palettes to make their artwork. In the same way, we also get tools in Photoshop like brush tool, which we can use to draw, a selection tool with which we can make selections, and a move tool with which we can move objects. Now, just like an artist has a color palette to mix colors, we have layers in Photoshop. Layers allow us to arrange things above or below each other. For example, if I want the blue color above the red color, I will simply select the blue color layer and drag it above the red color layer like this, and it will come up. Then we have our color panel. From here, we can select any color and paint with it. And lastly, like an artist, we have our canvas, where we will use all these tools to create our artwork. In our workspace, all the options and panels are in their designated places. But by chance, if your interface looks something like this, or you mistakenly move any option from here to there, don't worry. You simply have to go to Windows menu, then click on Workspace. From there, you will get an option to reset your workspace, which is Reset Essentials. So you have to click on it. This will restore all the options to their original position. So this bar at the top is called the menu bar. If you want to create a new file, you have to click on File, then click on New. Or you can also press Ctrl+N on your keyboard. After that, a window will pop up in front of you. Here you will see recent presets that you might have used before. Then you also get photo presets like landscape and portrait. You will also see print presets here like letter, A4, A3, A6. After that, there are presets for art and illustrations and many more. You can choose any of these. Here you can enter the name of your file. Then you can select the unit from here. For now, we will keep it in pixels. I will set the width to 2000 and the height to 1500. Then simply click on create and our file is now created. Now I will take the brush tool and draw something like this here. Now what if I need to save it? So how do I do that? For that, simply go to File. Here you will see an option to save. As soon as you click on it, a save window will open. Here you can give your file a name, whichever name you want. Then click on Save. Now let's see how to open the file after saving it. For that, simply go to File. Then you will see an option to open under New. You can locate the file from here and open it. Or you can go to your file manager where you saved the file. You can double click to open, or you can simply drag and drop it into the Photoshop. Now, a question must be coming to your mind that 𝗬𝗏, this is saved as a PSD file. That means it is saved as a Photoshop document file. But what if we want to save it in JPG or the PNG format? Then how do we do that? To do that, simply go to File, then Export, and then click on Export As. A window will pop up. From here, you can select the formats like PNG, JPG or GIF. Then click on Export and save it wherever you like. Okay, now let's see how we can import our photos in Photoshop. For that, go to the folder where your photo is. Then simply drag and drop it into the Photoshop like this. And there you have it. You can easily make it bigger or smaller. Hold down Shift and you can stretch it. I'm not going to do anything like that. So I will click on this stick icon here. Or you can also press Enter on the keyboard. On the left, we have this toolbar where we have a bunch of tools. Let's see what they are used for. The first one is the Move tool, which lets us move anything around any of the layers. The next one is the Selection tool, which is used to select any part of your picture. If you want to make a copy of the selection, simply press Ctrl+J to make a copy layer. and Ctrl+D to deselect the selection. You can hide any layer by simply clicking on this little eye icon here. The next tool is the lasso tool. It is also a selection tool, but works more like a freehand brush for selection. You can draw freely and the area will be selected like this. The next tool is the quick selection tool, which is very interesting and useful. For example, if I want to mask out myself from this image, I would first need to click on the plus brush. The plus means we are adding to the selection and the minus means we are subtracting from the selection. Here I want to add the selection, so I will select the plus brush. Simply press and hold your left mouse button and drag like this. See how smart Photoshop is. It automatically detects edges and selects accordingly. If you want to remove any selection, simply select the minus brush and paint over it like you did with the plus one. Now, if I want to remove the background, I will simply click on this little mask icon here and the subject will be masked out. The next tool is the crop tool, which is used to crop your images however you like. Now, the next tool is the spot healing tool. For example, if you have some spots or acne on your face, simply tap on the spots and they will magically be removed. The next tool is the brush tool. You already know what it is. It's simply a brush tool that you can use to paint. You can adjust the size and the hardness of the brush. From the top, you can also adjust the opacity of the brush. Let's create a blank layer by simply pressing Ctrl+N on the keyboard. Then here in the layers panel, you can see a new layer. Simply draw like this with the brush tool. You can select the color from here like this. You can also increase or decrease the opacity of the layers from here like this. Now, the next tool is the eraser tool. As the name suggests, it erases any part of the image you want. Now, the next tool is the gradient tool, through which we can create different gradients. See, if I click on this bar, it will open up the gradient properties, where we can create gradients of different colors or choose from the presets like these. Simply choose the one you like, then click on OK. After that, you can simply create a gradient like this. We can adjust the layer positions by simply dragging the layer above or below. Next, we have the text tool, which allows us to add the text to our design. Simply click anywhere on the image and start writing your text like this. Now, if we need to make it bigger or move it somewhere, we can select the move tool, then press Ctrl+T on the keyboard and transform it accordingly. After that, we have the shape tools like rectangle, ellipse, polygon and etc. You can select the fill color and the stroke color from over here and create a shape like this. Now, let's talk about the blend modes. For that, I have downloaded this cloud image. Let's drag and drop the cloud onto our image. I will press Ctrl+T to transform it and make it bigger. Now let's change its blend mode. You can see it's not fitting well with the darken or multiply mode because the background is already darkened. So let's try the screen blend mode and see it fits perfectly. For different type of images, you can play around with these blend modes and see which one works best. Now, what if I want to make some adjustments to my image, like changing the brightness or the saturation? For that, there is a panel named Adjustments, where you can add anything you want like hue, saturation, brightness or contrast. Let's click on hue and saturation. And from here, you can adjust the sliders for hue, saturation and lightness according to your needs. Now, it's affecting all the layers. But what if I want it to affect only one layer? For that, we have to create a clipping mask. You can do that by simply clicking on this little icon over here and it will apply only to the layer below it. Nice. Let's see how we can apply blur to our images. For that, simply select the layer on which you want the blur. Then go to filters, then blur and select Gaussian blur. And you can adjust the blur amount as per your needs. Let's say you want to adjust the colors of the image. For that, you need camera raw filter. And how we can access the camera raw filter? By clicking on filters, then camera raw filter. Here you can adjust the lighting like the brightness, contrast, highlight, shadows, etc. In the colors, you can adjust the temperature, tint, vibrance, etc. In the effects, you can add textures and clarity to your image. There are many adjustments which you can try on your image. Here you can add sharpening to your image as well. Once you are satisfied, click OK and the filter will be applied. Okay, let's say I want to add a shadow to my text. How can I do that? Simply double click on the text layer and it will open the blending modes window. From there you can add a stroke, change the stroke color, adjust the size of it, etc. You can add inner shadow, gradient and also color overlay, by which you can add color over the object like this. Let's add a drop shadow on our text. For that, simply click on the drop shadow here. you will see the shadow properties. You can adjust the properties according to your need like this. Okay, so these are all the basic Photoshop things. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something.